Hey everyone, this is Pharaoh Silver, the Pharaoh of Beer Money Finance, and I am back from medical leave. And I know this is a little bit late, but I do want to talk about and respond to the Atlas Earth Ask Me Anything, the second Ask Me Anything that they did with Sami Khan, the CEO of Atlas Reality. Not the video I had expected to get back into. Matter of fact, I have a lot of non-Atlas Earth related content backlogged right now that I'm going to start going over as soon as this video is over. But whenever I'm gone for a long amount of time, gotta get back to the go-tos, right? Even if it is a few days late. So let's talk about the latest Atlas Earth Ask Me Anything. But before we do, if you like this kind of content and other Beer Money related stuff, please do click that subscribe button to subscribe to Beer Money Engine and click the bell notification icon for all your Atlas Earth and other Beer Money related content. So let's talk about this. First off, they started by introducing the new community manager, Annalise. Big congratulations to her. You all remember her as a moderator with the Beer Money Network and also a moderator with Atlas Earth as well. She has been playing Atlas Earth for about a year and a half and has 2,100 parcels. Again, congratulations to Annalise, and I bet she'll be an amazing community manager for Atlas Earth. Replacing her in the Discord moderator position, they call them peacekeepers, is the president of South Africa, the president of South Africa from Atlas Earth, Frosty Frisbee. He has celebrated, actually, the 1-year anniversary of the game's release over in South Africa as well. So they also introduced him in the panel. And alongside them was Elizabeth, the marketing guru, and of course the CEO, Sami. This was hosted, of course, by SSC Kelly, Shane Kelly. I should start calling him by his real name now rather than SSC Kelly because he's getting to the big times now. He's been hosting a lot more of these over at the Atlas Earth channel, which is great for them, honestly. I'm glad for them. Moving on to the mini games in general, they did a lot of talk about the mini games for the first half of this, and I think the biggest talk regarding this was the podium prizes, and we talked about this too. And I mentioned that I'm okay with the podium prizes being reduced. I'm okay with pretty much anyone in the top 100 is making less Atlas bucks today. Podiums, because they were actually dropped. If you remember previously, now there's been like 3 implementations that I remember of mini games where it's like, I think first place got 5% at one point, second place got 2.5, and third place got 1 and some change. That got moved to first place getting 2%, second place getting 1.4, 1.5, and third getting 1%. And now first place gets 1%. Second place gets around I think I calculate like 0.7, and then it's like 0.6 for third place. And I could be wrong about that. I'm just thinking of them off the top of my head. Guys, it's been a couple weeks since I've done this, so give me a little bit here, all right? So anyways, what they did basically was they took away the state prizes, which kind of affected mostly the top 100, and they moved them over to the top 1,500. So they made a brand new tier, which was 501 to 1,500, and they gave them roughly 0.00, I think, percent. Like, you're getting a good somewhere between 25 to 50 Atlas bucks right now, depending on the event, if you're in the top 1,500, which is kind of nice, actually, because the amount of wins that you need to get to top 1,500 right now is pretty minimal. And I do kind of like that Atlas Earth is trying to award those small players with at least a little something. Give people some reason to keep playing the game. And he has mentioned that he wants to, he hopes someday that he can even award the top 5,000 now. I think that the prizes is already getting spread a little bit thin. I'm not sure how he's going to do a top 5,000 without the Atlas buck pool greatly increasing. But I'm assuming he's going to take a little bit more off the top. This time maybe more than just podium. Maybe this time off the top 100, because there is a steep cutoff between top 25 and 50, and then another steep cutoff between top 100 and 500. That they could probably level that out a little bit and start giving like an even smaller chunk of the pie to, the top 3,000 or the top 5,000. And that's probably what he has in mind. I know a lot of people are telling me that, I'm giving the guy ideas. I'm not giving the guy ideas. I mean, a lot of this is just, to me at least, I see it as good business, and I think Atlas Earth is doing what they can to actually kind of appeal to everyone, and it's showing. The amount of people playing mini games, as he mentioned before, with the slow matchmaking, the amount of mini games that are being played now has gone up like almost triple. And when they went from 3 Atlas bucks per game added to the pot to 1 Atlas buck per game added to the pot amongst the two players, you kind of notice that the amount of activity that went up, we almost kind of got back to where we were. I think we're still like 20 to 20, well, about 20% down. I'd say 15 to 20% down from our peaks during the days that we were paying 2 Atlas bucks. But that indicates that we are seeing at least double the activity that we did during the days that we had to pay 2 Atlas bucks. And that, I think, can only amount to being a good thing, especially because the Atlas bucks being free. And I know a lot of the players that are in the top 100 are not happy with this because they're not getting the amount of Atlas bucks that they used to. I am amongst those that can regularly get in the top 100 in all the mini games, top 25 in quite a few of them, actually. I know I can get them in golf, I can get it in racer, bowling, and sometimes fishing. And for me, I have mentioned this, and I do stand by that I'm okay with it. I'm not like stoked over it. Don't get me wrong. I'm losing Atlas bucks, but I'm okay with it. All right. So, and the reason why is because, as Sami mentioned in the AMA, this is a chance to bring more people into the game, and that will allow the pots to come back up. And while they're not back up to their normal, to what we remember them in the 2 Atlas buck per game era, they are going back up to levels that are at least palatable for most players, and you're at least getting something out of it. So that overall, I think, is a win. Also, regarding international minigames, I did want to point this out. He mentioned that the team is very close to doing merging countries for minigames. Yeah, this will probably double or even triple the payouts for international players, to which I say you're welcome. I hope they do this by time zone, but I don't know how they're going to group it. But we'll talk about this. And yes, I did mention this about grouping together countries in a video a little while back, if you all remember. So I don't want to take credit for that. I'm pretty sure other people would be like, well, no, I talked about this like months ago. Why mini games for international players had sucked, and I had a plan to fix it. Now, I grouped it by time zones. They could group it a little bit differently. They're probably going to group it by region, because one of the issues that I had with the time zone one is, especially if you see this for you South African players, if you end up playing someone from the Middle East or someone from India, say India moves to Atlas Earth, which was what I was expecting. Well, India probably should be its own region, to be fair. But let's just say in this case they were. The distance that you have and the latency that would come out of that distance would be way worse than if you're talking about, someone from the West Coast to the East Coast of the United States. So that's something that I've been thinking about as well. Like, how are they going to group it together? Especially with South Africa, that's basically kind of an island unto its own. But I guess we'll find out when they finally merge those countries, right? He also talked about reimagining the minigames. So they want to make the minigames more fun. I'm assuming they want to make them more skill-based. They want to add a practice hall where players can practice in single-player mode and still earn Atlas bucks by watching ads. I'm assuming that they're going to do something similar to what Swagbucks do with their playing games, where you get a limit of like 5 plays per day. And then, you can play as many times as you want, but you get a 5 plays per day for like I think it's 2 Swagbucks per play or something like that. And you can get up to 10 Swagbucks per day doing that. So I could see them doing something where it's like, you can play up to 5 times per day, 2 Atlas bucks per play, you get 10 Atlas bucks out of it. I could see something like that. They also are going to introduce a sudden death tournament style system to make the games more about skill and less about who plays the most, which I wish that they did this with golf. I genuinely wish that they did this with golf. It is just quite annoying for me to see that, we've been turning these minigame style tournaments into who has played the most. I would like to see it be more about skill, especially with ones that look a little bit more skill-based like that with golf. Moving on to ads and ad networks. So, with this one, Sammy, this is one thing I do want to point out here. Sammy has acknowledged a particular network that has been causing issues with the amount of ads and the length of the ads that they show during, especially during the mini games. Now he wants to start this kind of almost a revolution against these ad networks. He thinks that they're being abusive, and he wants to call them out. And he wants to kind of be like on behalf of other companies as well, because he thinks that they're losing business because of it. But I think it kind of goes both ways in that sense. I know a lot of game developers that I talk with who are actually kind of happy with the changes that ads have gone up from 30 seconds to 60, because it has they tell me anyways, the few that I know that are developers have told me that they've actually gotten an increase in sales of their no ads button that they use for their games, so that, you know, take the ads off of the banners and stuff. So it has led to an increase in sales of their games, and well, good for them. I think Atlas Earth is trying to take the direction to being user friendly. And one of the things that they do with being user friendly is to take a stand against ad companies that are, you know, not doing what they're supposed to do. When they say 5-second ad, yeah, it should be a 5-second ad. And if that is supposed to be on the ad network and not on Atlas Earth, then yeah, they should probably call out the ad network. That being said, is the ad network going to do anything? I don't know. They did talk about, though, that they're going to make their own ad network, and that's a year or two away. This is another example of what is worrying me a little bit about Atlas Earth, is they're trying to do everything on their own. They're trying to make an in-house everything, and I appreciate the effort. Don't get me wrong. The effort on that is awesome. That being said, when you're trying to do too much and too many big things all at once, it's going to eventually, my worry about this is that it's going to eventually spoil the product a little bit, where they're going to need so many different people hired to do so many different things. Are you really saving that much by creating your own ad network and not having to pay an ad network a cut? You know, are you going to be able to do that? Like with the social media thing, how much are you going to earn off of this community feed, which we'll get to? By the way, there isn't really much to get to with the community feed. I think they said they have an alpha version that they're going to roll out in the coming weeks. I'm hoping I can get in on that. But like, they're trying to make like their own everything and try to create like their own little world out of everything. And I'm just like, are you sure this is going to work out? You know, it's not just a matter of, is it going to work out, but like, how are you going to make this profitable on your own when you're trying to make everything in-house? I appreciate the effort. Don't get me wrong. It's something that I really do like about Atlas Earth, is they are extremely virtuous and they have a lot of stuff going on at once. But it does worry me. I've mentioned this before. It feels like the story of Icarus flying too close to the sun, and I'm just a little nervous for them in that sense. If it works out, great. I don't mind eating crow again. I've been eating crow about Atlas Earth, thinking that I didn't even think they'd make it to this point. All right, so just that they're here indicates to me that I should at least take my doubts into question. But I did want to get my doubts out there regarding what I think regarding their own ad network, their own social media community feed, and stuff like that. How are they going to make this profitable for them? And is it really going to be that much more profitable than if they just outsourced that part, where, you know, with social media feed, maybe do something with TikTok or Instagram, or, you know, with the ad network doing what they do now, outsourcing them to different networks? Is it really that much more profitable? Is it really going to improve player experience that much more? Now, regarding the AMP program, they are talking with major national brands like Panda Express and Chevron, as well as several regional brands. They mentioned that they added Cava. And at first I thought that Cava was like a coffee shop of some sort. It's actually a Mediterranean restaurant chain. And that they have like a couple locations actually where I live, which is interesting. So yeah, that's pretty cool that they added that on. Panda Express, I don't really eat too much Panda Express, but the Chevron one is very interesting. So if it is that you're going to get Atlas Bucks for filling up your tank again, just like we did with Speedway, that would be a huge win, because a lot of people have been asking for that. And they've been asking for that for a while. He also kind of hinted a little bit on virtual franchise ownerships. Now, he said this is a couple years off. If you've seen any of the leaks regarding this, it's the idea of going into the building and being able to buy like part virtual ownership of a particular building for a certain amount of Atlas bucks and earning Atlas bucks, I guess, based off of that. He didn't really go too much into detail. He said there's a lot of legal complexities regarding it, and it is at least a year and a half away from being a reality. Maybe even, I'm assuming, as probably it's going to be a long-term project for them. Probably you can expect that around 2028, if you ask me. So moving on, they do have a second survey provider. This was mentioned on stream. I talked about this in the stream that half of the players are going to be getting one survey, and then the other half will be keeping what they currently have. And I guess they're going to be testing to see which one is better. And then I guess, they're going to see if they're going to keep one or both. Also, he was very transparent regarding ad revenue and mentioned that the US is 10 times higher than South Africa, which I assume was the lowest rate, I believe. And I did mention this, that I did check the ad rates by country. And I have mentioned Mexico and South Africa have been getting a huge subsidy. They've been subsidized a lot from other players in other countries. And again, no faults of their own. They got to be a part of the game too. But at the same time, you got to remember that the amount that they earn from an ad in South Africa versus the amount that they earn in the US or like even Canada and the UK is vastly different. And trying to like even that out, yeah, that explains why a lot of international players are not able to make very much off of this, at least compared to the US players. Sorry about that. It's just something that they have to figure out anyways. Another of the things that he mentioned that does worry me a little bit, and again, this is something that I've talked about on this channel as well, and that is lowering ad prices. So the ad rates have been lowering every single year. And while it seems like Atlas Earth did give themselves a pretty good cushion to begin with back in 2021, you got to start thinking that that cushion is going to eventually fade out as ad rates continue to drop. And part of that is because of supply and demand. There's just way more ads than there are, supply of people. And especially since like the global economy in general is a little bit shakier than it normally is. So people have less money. People are less willing to go out and spend. So with that, ads just have less bang for the buck and have less ROI. So it's going to cause people to want to get cheaper ads because of that. This is a game of ads, pretty much. So it's something to think about as well. That they did mention that the ad rates have dropped a bit, and it is something that has been in the back of my mind. How long are they going to keep the rates and the rent rates that they have as they currently are? And it's something that, at least for me anyway, has made me want to try to break even with Atlas Earth sooner rather than later. And finally, I want to talk about like the overall future of Atlas Earth that he mentioned, like what a fully built Atlas Earth would look like in 2030, since that's what we're kind of seeing it lead up to. And he mentioned a lot about like people are going to eventually have more free time, especially with automation and technology. And that free time could be for better or worse. I'm not quite sure because I do expect that AI is going to take a lot of jobs myself. But overall more free time could be a good or a bad thing depending on what our governments are. And I actually did an entire video based off of this on my second channel, Pharaoh Silver, by the way. Just plugging my second channel there, just letting y'all know. But anyway, he talked about that this is going to grow into something like a global metaverse, kind of a super app. You can book travel, shop, be entertained, and other stuff like that. And also want to partner with gaming companies like Xbox and Steam. I'm assuming they might have something to do with like, I don't know, is he planning some live streaming when he mentioned that? Like he hinted gaming companies, and I'm not sure if he's mentioning like live streaming someday. I mean, they got to get through the community feed first. So anyway, yeah. So anyways, he's also mentioned that his vision for Atlas Earth is just too deep for a lot of these competitors to really conceptualize. And I'm assuming what he's trying to eventually grow this into is sort of its own social network. Very similar to, and I think we mentioned this a while back, it's going to be like a very complex version of Tau. And if y'all remember my review I did on X, I talked about Tao and that it was like the first social media group that kind of had like you could monetize your posts automatically. Like everyone was able to monetize, and it just turned into the spam farm. So some of the challenges they would have going forward would be to ensure that the app does not turn into a spam farm of sorts. And also the whole shopping and entertainment stuff is also really interesting, but it's going to require that they actually have, strong partners. Panda Express, pretty solid partner if they can get them. Chevron as well is a very solid partner, but I would like to see like really big, like global partners. Something like they had Burger King for a while, but like a Wendy's or a McDonald's. If they can get McDonald's, that would do it. That would do it for me. All right, that would absolutely do it. A couple philosophies that I'm really liking with Atlas Earth, and I continue to like. The first one being that transparency. Sami has been incredibly open about the company's challenges, admitting that they lose money on international minigames, that the company experiences the same garbage ads as the players, and that legal technical issues have killed past projects as well. This level of honesty to me does build significant trust with the community and shows that they're not trying to hide behind a corporate facade. It is so different from a lot of other like play to earn games out there, where you're not able to see what's actually going on, and they have like a vision once a quarter and that's it. That they continue to do these AMAs on a semi-regular basis, to me, kind of shows that transparency and shows that Atlas Earth is a cut above like all the other play to earn games and just beer money apps in general. It's actually probably really refreshing to see. Also, yes, I do like that Sami's vision of a game that combines entertainment and earning money as people gain more free time is a powerful and unique concept. My only worry with it is that it's a very Icarus-y kind of plan, and I would like to see it come into fruition, and hopefully things do work out. That's what I'm aiming for here. All right, I'm going to be a part of the community. I'm going to be a part of all the things that Atlas Earth is going to be doing because, well, this channel is basically about half Atlas Earth as it is. So I'm going to be a part of some of these, and I am going to show off and show you like the best strategies you can do to earn. But a lot of these going forward probably won't have a maximized, like min-max kind of earning strategy. Like a lot of this sounds like it's more just for social media. And the best advice I could give with that is just go along for the ride and see if it works. And I get that. Another thing I do like is that they are focusing on the entire community rather than just whales. The decision not to create like custom reports for top spenders, for example, and to focus on improving the core game experience for all players, that demonstrates a commitment to building a healthy, inclusive player base. Now, another thing that I like to notice too regarding this too is they're very almost deliberately anti-Web3. It's like an anti-Web3 app in a way, where many Web3 games have prioritized a top-down model, at least the play-to-earn ones. I'm not going to talk about Splinterland's Bronze Dragon, where the highest spenders or the most skilled players reap the most rewards. Atlas Earth does seem to appear to be moving in the opposite direction. And I think part of that is because they can afford to. I think Manning mentioned a while back that whales only make up about 5 or 6% of the amount of money that they actually earn, which sounded unbelievable at first until you realize how many players that you see on the leaderboard that are part of the Explorers Club or have a challenge pass, or premium pass, I should say, premium challenge pass. Name it, whatever they want to call it. I don't think that there's an actual, is it premium pass, premium challenge pass? I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah, that many people making $60 a month has got to be adding up. Also, don't forget the amount of ads that people watch every single day also adds up, especially from minigames. Oh my God, you gotta imagine how much money they make, especially from a US minigame. Every single event is insane. And this whole ensuring that more players get a share of the pie, I really like that. I'm almost kind of Robin Hoodish in a way, I mean, not really quite Robin Hood, but it does. But in a way, if you see their podium, the way that they do the podium prizes, it's kind of like that. They're taking a cut from like corporate profits of ad revenue and commerce and redistributing it to a wide engaged user base. And yeah, that does set it apart from a lot of other places as well. And they're using the ads, the corporate sponsorships as a part of it, so that way you actually get paid whether you are a part of that corporate sponsor or not. Now, obviously, you get more if you interact with those corporate sponsors, but just playing the game, you get to earn a share of that pie. And that's what makes them kind of different from the rest, at least in my opinion. And it's been something that has allowed me to really stand by Atlas Earth compared to the others and tell people that while it's probably not for everyone, and I'm not going to say that it's going to be for everyone, even with the community feed coming up, even critics, I think at this point, would have to admit, after going through everything, if they actually take time to actually dig down and see what Atlas Earth is all about, they'd have to think, okay, maybe it's not for me, but at least these guys are trying to do something that caters to an entire fan base rather than just a few people. And that's something that I can definitely, at least I feel like I could get behind, because I feel like that does provide a more stable, at least long term. Maybe short term, they could go for more short term gains and get those whales and get more money in the short term. But in the longer term, this does provide more stability for the game, having more people involved and more people interacting, rather than just the regular model that we all know, where the whales get pretty much all the rewards, and then as soon as they get their share of the pie, they abandon the game and they start siphoning money from the company, and then everyone else pretty much is left in the dust holding the bag. And that's something that Atlas Earth is trying to prevent from doing, which in my opinion is pretty good. And this is why I say on this channel, don't ever invest in Atlas Earth. You don't have to invest in Atlas Earth. It does not take much, especially if you live in the United States, to make $15, $20 a month off this game. Atlas Earth's money base is a lot more diversified than other games out there and other apps out there. And it's showing in the way that they are catering to their users. They definitely got the model down better than most others who have tried before them. Let's put it that way. All right. They definitely have been trying better, and they have made a better effort than pretty much any other app that I've seen that has been trying. So I want to commend them for that. Now, it's been almost 30 minutes. I'm going to stop it here. That's pretty much the video, everyone. Let me know what you thought of the Ask Me Anything as well. Now, before we go, I do want to talk about my own situation. I had spent the last couple weeks kind of on medical leave, having to deal with a medical procedure, and I'm having to do another one in November. So things are going to be a little bit choppy for me for a little while because of that, because I'm more focused on that. I also got some other stuff regarding my work I'm having to do as work is piling up. Yeah, it's going to be just crazy all around. I am going to continue to make videos on here, though, when I can. I just cannot promise it'll be Monday or Wednesday. However, I do plan on streaming. So you'll be seeing me on stream here and there sometime down the line, starting actually Friday night. I plan to do a stream on Friday night again. I know I stopped last week, and that was because, again, prepping for the medical procedure. But this week, I'll be on Friday night and Saturday afternoon. Saturday morning if you live in the West Coast, I guess. The usual times, and you'll see it over there. It will be 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern time on Friday nights. That could change. I'm still testing out the Friday night time, and 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And with that, everyone, like this video if you like it. Don't forget about the comment and the subscribe to Beer Money Engine. And if you want to check out more videos as well, go ahead and click right there. And with that, everybody, I will see you all next time. Pharaoh Silver signing off. Bye, everybody.